welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. This is the radio program or the podcast or whatever you want to call us. We're all about fine cigars, fine spirits, and fine craft beers. We are glad to be on show number 156, and we're thrilled to be sponsored by B&B Butchers and Restaurant at 1814 Washington Ave in Houston, and in the shops at Clear Fork and Fort Worth, at by BB Italia on Memorial in Houston, BB Lemon on Washington Ave. And by the way, we talk all the time about the bacon at B&B Butchers,
So good.
but if you haven't gone across the street to BB Lemon and tried their, what is it, the Parmesan
bacon.
bacon. Oh my God! Now it's different than it's the same quality bacon, but it's a different preparation than what they do across the street at B&B, and it must be experienced.
We need to just get a picture of that bacon, by the way, and post that, because I don't think people get it.
No. I think so. The next time we're over there, we have to take one, and that'll be our
right.
Can we see the bacon? Okay, good. Yeah, good. So I want to give credit. We criticize lawmakers all the time for their kind of sweeping proposals that don't take into account that cigars may be different than than other forms of tobacco or other things that they're actually aiming for. I do want to give credit where credit is due. According to an article on Half Wheel, which by the way is an awesome website.
Love Half Wheel.
Halfwheel.com. The Trump administration is planning a flavored e-cigarette ban, but in this particular piece of legislation or executive announcement, whatever it winds up being, flavored cigars are untouched in this particular one. So I want to point that out, because we always talk about, they just make these sweeping things and they don't take into consideration. In a statement, the administration said that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, will finalize a policy in the coming weeks that would prioritize the enforcement of the deeming regulations for flavored e-cigarettes. From there, FDA would need to publish the regulation, give the public time to comment, et cetera, et cetera. But it says the Trump administration is making it clear we intend to clear the market of flavored e-cigarettes. And it goes on to say why. But it does not appear that anything other than the flavored e-cigarettes are what they are pushing for the FDA to ban at this time. So it would not include menthol cigarettes. It would not include flavored cigars. It would not include things like the acids and the other things. So now, unfortunately, not all of the stuff that's being proposed and pushed out there is has got that much foresight to it. But Trey, we'll talk about all of that a little more, I guess, as the program winds on. I wanted to make sure we didn't skip this beer because I'm really excited. This is the Great Human.
The Great Human.
Great Human. It's an American IPA from Castle Island. Castle Island Brewing is in Norwood, Massachusetts, and I'm sure there are a lot of scenic areas around there that would give you the idea for a title like Castle Island. So this is it's appropriate. But I'm not really I love their name, but I'm not really that familiar with this brewery. I think this is Ian, is this probably the first Castle Island beer?
This is definitely
that
the first one we've had from here.
And that's what I thought. So I'm anxious to try it, and I will tell you on the pour, it definitely is a hazy, juicy-looking IPA. What can you tell us from the can?
This is a 6.8% American IPA. Mm-hmm. Says, we all possess the power to be great as an individual and as a community. Great Human, a nice little American IPA. They call it little at 6.8%, and that's nice. Is an evolution in a series that began with Good Human and celebrates everything that's at our fingertips. It's kind of hard to read purple on purple, by the way. Mm-hmm. So that's at our fingertips to do truly amazing things while leaving the world a better place. So, do you want to be great? It's easy. Just be excellent to each other. Nice.
What is the fruit that I'm getting that's at the front of this? Because it is very fruity, but it's not like most of the hazy IPAs I've had seem to lean into the citrusy thing. You get either the grapefruit or the
like mango.
Is this mango? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it is mango. Yeah.
I was running through all my tropical fruits there. Mango is it.
Yeah. It is definitely mango forward. No question about that. Yeah. I like it. I think it's delicious.
I like it's not sweet and it's not super bitter.
Right.
No, and I'm not an IPA guy, and the hoppiness of an IPA doesn't always sit with my beer palate. Mm-hmm. But it's got enough other things going on that it is a
makes it interesting,
drinkable
yeah.
IPA for somebody like me.
It
And
almost
this also has the consistency of orange juice with no pulp in it.
yes, it has that kind of consistency and mouthfeel. It's got the mango flavor on the front, and then on the back end, it's got a little of that, almost that baking spice sort of thing, which is not necessarily uncommon in beer, but not real common in an IPA.
Right.
This is actually, I said it's not that bitter. It's more bitter than I usually like on an IPA, but I kind of like it in this IPA.
It's bitter, though, in a way that reminds me of more like an ESB style bitter, more than just that sort of IPA pine coney resinous.
Right, not the
kind of
resiny
bitter.
kind of bitter. I agree. It's interesting because the mango. If you describe this beer to me, I would probably say no thanks.
No thanks, you wouldn't
But
like it. Yeah,
trying this beer is kind of a different thing. It's pretty tasty overall.
it really
actually.
is. Yeah, it
Like,
really is.
the description of this beer, mango with the bitter, a little bit bitter, but kind of a not resiny bitter. I don't know. It doesn't sound like something that I'd really enjoy, but
It
but I'm
definitely,
enjoying it.
Yeah, it definitely has the style of, they call it an American IPA. Some people might call it a West Coast IPA. It has that kind of style in terms of the bitterness, but it's got that New England IPA sort of juiciness to it. So
I think that
it feels like a hybrid, maybe.
That baking spice kind of thing you're talking about I think that's the malt profile sneaking through on the very end of it.
And maybe
giving
I'm
it a little bit of that.
Maybe I'm
and
misrepresenting
it's on the
that.
retro hail, and it just comes through and kind of smooths out the whole thing. It's interesting because the bitterness on this is a little bit more like the bitterness you get from something that burnt just a little around the edges, but kind of in that good way.
It kind of is good.
Yeah.
Well, if you think of like a creme brulee, the
Right,
best part of the
right.
creme brulee flavor
It's a little crunchy
is that
burnt
little
part.
crunchy burnt part on the top. You know?
So yeah, it has a little bit of that kind of vibe to it as well. This is a fun beer, I think,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Because-
a fun beer.
because it's not necessarily the first one I'd grab, but it sure would be fun to share with some people and go, hey, let's talk about this. And it is as hazy as it gets.
I just think most of my buddies, if I brought a beer around that said "Great Human," they would think I'm trying to overcompensate. So
Yeah,
Well, I
get
think
it.
it's kind of fun. I like the picture on the front too, kind of the brain going on.
Yeah.
I like
You know-
their idea, and apparently they had one before that was called what was it called?
Good Human, I think,
Good Human.
was maybe the precursor to this.
Right.
So this is like taking it to the next level, I suppose.
So yeah, hey, kudos to you guys at Castle Island.
I like it. Thumbs up for Castle Island. That is a good
I like
beer.
this. I like this logo on the back too. Check that out. with
Yeah.
That's
Very cool. Very cool. You know, it's getting to the point. There's so many beers out there now, and then so many breweries that are changing up. You know, they're releasing stuff that is only out there for a little while, and then they replace it with the next iteration and stuff. You got to think about the whole process of naming and coming up with the artwork and what the can's going to look like if it's being put into cans. Like that's got to be getting harder and harder to do because a lot of the good ideas are taken. You know what I mean?
I want to point something out here.
Yes, sir.
We've done this is show number
156.
156, and we try no less than 3 beers.
Usually.
In every show. That
At
is
least 3.
What did I just say? 468 beers, and that's conservative because we've had shows where we've had more beers.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've had some shows that have more whiskeys, but that's 468 beers we've tried so far. We haven't doubled up a whole lot, and we still have plenty of beers to try. I love this.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the great things about the world right now. And you mentioned earlier that we're kind of in this wonderful cigar time when you can walk into a humidor and probably whatever you grab is going to be pretty good, you know? It really is a good time to be into this and be enjoying this. And, hey, we haven't even gotten to the Aaron 18-year single malt. That's coming.
Yeah.
Trey, let's talk a little bit about Cigars for Warriors. We haven't really delved as deeply into that today as I'd like to. Obviously, I think most people know what you do, which is you send to our servicemen and women who request it care packages, basically, that are cigars that are largely cigars that you go around the country and get other cigar lovers to donate to the cause. Am I saying it right?
that is accurate. We are the only 501c3 charity whose sole purpose is to collect and distribute cigars to those servicemen and women in combat zones or in long-term deployments in areas where they can't go get a cigar.
And we were talking about stress earlier.
Oh,
the
yeah.
amount of stress that those servicemen and women are under has got to be like incomprehensible to guys like us who are sitting in an
absolutely.
air-conditioned room talking about beers
Absolutely.
and cigars.
Absolutely. Well, and I will tell you, the interesting thing is, and we mentioned a little bit earlier, the charity was started in 2012, and it came out of a passion from a group of individuals who had kind of sporadically worked with certain people to do this type of process, but never in a formal organization. And it was driven from the idea that, look, we need to be sure to do this in the right way.
Right.
And to do it in a way that is going to benefit the intended recipients, those individuals that are out there protecting our freedoms, but do it in a way that is organized and official. So in 2012, Operation Cigars for Warriors became a 501c3. And we are a charity, so tax-deductible donations, when you go online and donate to us, it's all tax-deductible, just like you're giving to a normal charity. We are, as I mentioned before, probably the most politically incorrect charity, but we're still a charity.
Which I love, yeah.
And now the interesting thing is, which the listeners may get a kick out of, is there's a watchdog group called GuideStar. You can find them online. They are the watchdog group that broke the story about wounded warriors, where they were spending more than they were actually giving to the recipients. That whole story that
They're
happened a
spending
couple
more
of years
on
ago.
themselves and
Yeah.
their offices. And
So
whatever.
GuideStar was one of the watchdog groups that kind of broke that whole element.
They
right?
kind of keep the charities
keep
in
the
line.
charities in line. Well, you can apply to be recognized by GuideStar, which is what we have done. And
So they check you out.
they
and
check us
say,
out. And
Are you above board?
right. And our running joke is they ask for the underwear size of every board member, I think. I mean, we sent them everything. And it literally is as it should be. It's a very cumbersome process. We are a platinum-rated charity
Wow.
on GuideStar, which
I'm
means
guessing that's as good as it gets.
that's as good as it gets. And the only number they could give me is that they told me that 0.5% of all charities qualify as gold. And we're the step
Wow.
above that.
Wow.
This
That's
is
huge, man.
This is a real thing that we
Right.
do. And the interesting thing is now that we've hit that 1 millionth cigar, which we did in July, we're getting a lot more publicity. I'm getting more corporate people that donate to military charities where the business owners may not care about the incorrectness of the politics, that want to support our charity because, A, we're platinum rated, which means we actually spend the money on the function of the charity. And we do. We have to pay to ship the cigars.
Right. So you
We
don't
actually have to
just
pay.
need cigars. You
We
have
need
to raise cash, too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We spend the Postal Run 1 rate boxes are what we use to send out the care packages. If you go and look at us up, Operation Cigars for Warriors on Facebook, you see all the pictures we'll post when we're sending out our 50, 75 packages. Well, you figure those things cost, on average, what, $12, $13 to ship? Okay, so we send out 50, 75 at a time, generally 2 or 3 times a month. You could start doing the math and figure out how much that cost. And so, that's where we spend the cash is on those. And we collect the cigars through our donation centers, which are shops that participate with us, that collect ongoing and will ship the cigars to us when they get a full humidor. They'll put them in a box, send them to us. We also really have a lot of support from the cigar manufacturers.
That's so cool.
Pre-2017, they used to actually send us cigars.
And they can't do that
They
anymore.
can't do that anymore. The FDA stopped that in 2016. So as of January 2017, we as a charity had to reinvent ourselves. Where are we going to go get the cigars that we send? And that is where we doubled down on our donation centers with local cigar shops.
Right.
Our participation in cigar events. We are at, here in Houston, Texas Cigar Fest, the Wing Ding. You get out and around globally. All the barn smokers, Drew Estate, has listed Operation Cigars for Warriors as the charity benefit.
Nice.
I was just at a localized event for the Wood and Indian Tobacco Shop, which is outside of Philadelphia. They have their annual event that supports Cigars for Warriors. Very good event. And at these events, the cigars we collect are how we are able now since the FDA has stopped manufacturers from donating, be able to reach the men and women that request the cigars. Wow. And we hit 1 million 7 years in, 2019 to 2012. It took us 7 years to get to 1 million. Our biggest thing right now is how do we get to 1 million quicker than the next 7? 2 million.
Gotcha.
Go to the additional million. So we're really pushing a lot of things. This weekend is my event that I do every year. This will be the 6th year. It's down in the Clear Lake area. We do a shop event starting at noon at the Smoke Ring in Webster, Texas.
Great plan.
We went there last year.
You did. You guys were there last year. Great event. They set a record last year. They beat their personal best last year. We did over 800 and something cigars just from that day's event. Plus, they had an additional 2,200 that they had collected previously. So they broke their best event last year.
Now, let me ask you this question, because last year when Ian and I came out last year to the Smoke Ring, and as I recall, there were a number of different deals. We participated in one. Ian and I split a box of cigars, and it was one of those things where we bought the box of cigars, and we got a bundle of cigars free with the box purchase. And we then, of course, took the bundle and put it in the donation box. Will there be things like that going on?
Absolutely. In fact, CLE
makes it really easy to participate, is what I'm saying.
It does. CLE Cigars will be there.
Love them.
And they
were there last year.
They were there last year. They'll be there this year. Cabal Cigars, which is a local Houston cigar company, will be there. Those will be the 2 manufacturers this year. But they'll have deals, and the same thing is the idea is, promoting a collection of cigars. Christian and Tom Lazuka from CLE are huge supporters of ours. And even though they can't directly donate, the beautiful thing about this industry, which is why I always use the word family, is the cigar manufacturers are still tremendous supporters of ours. They may not be able to give me a pallet load of cigars as they used to, but they do so much more now in other things to try and help us promote and push this process, because they're just like the rest of us. They're just as aggravated at the FDA as we are, obviously.
Yes, sure.
But they participate with us. But that'll be the big event in the afternoon. In the evening at the Warehouse Cigar Club of Texas, which is a private members-only club that I'm a part of, we have a big party that starts at 7 p.m. And as I said, this is the 6th year we've done this. The previous 5 years, we have collected over 25,000 cigars and over $26,000 in cash at the 5 years of events that we've done. Now, the way I always like to point that out is you've got a bunch of just people. If you think you can't make a difference, that's 2.5% of the 1 million cigars that we sent out. Think about that. That's 2.5% of 1 million cigars came out of one set of events.
Wow.
So
That's
you can
cool.
make a difference, and I tell everybody, buy an extra cigar. If your shop is a donation center, buy an extra cigar and drop it in the box.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything to you financially, but it means the world to that serviceman or woman that's sitting out there in Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever.
I want to point out here, there's one of our listeners here, Eric Mitchell, put, wow, awesome idea. I went to Desert Storm, and trust me, while I was there, I could think of nothing better than having a cigar other than simply going home. This is a... This brings up a discussion on the mentality of course, we send them toothpaste and we send them new underwear and we send them socks and all those other things that they need, and that's great. But the average Joe over there that opens up a box and sees new socks is not going, oh wow, that's awesome. We're going to sit around and we're going to just put socks on tonight.
Right.
I was thinking, Ian, can you imagine if you and I were in the same platoon, same grouping, and we're deployed over there? I can't, but can you?
I'm following you.
All right, so stay with me. We're there every day doing our job, protecting our country. We would be risking stepping on an IUD, getting shot at. We'd be in impossible heat and really unfriendly conditions. Can you imagine how great it would be if we were sitting at the end of the day after a tough, day out in the sun, and Adam comes over and goes, "Hey guys, the shipment came," and we open up the box and there's cigars there that we can smoke. That would be Christmas.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because, like I said, I get the charities that are sending the necessities. That is a beautiful thing and wonderful.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But again, they're not going to sit around and go, "Hey guys, We all got toothpaste. Let's hang
brush
out.
our teeth tonight.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
brush
a
our teeth.
cigar for the mental health of someone who wants to sit down and enjoy a cigar, and I'm talking about pure mental health here. This is you can say anything you want about the physical health and anything like that, but the pure mental health of someone who sits down and goes, you know what? I can make time to have this happen. And, you know, there's been studies shown about, like, when people go on vacation, they love the planning process as much or more than the actual vacation. Well, you know what?
right.
Let's say you're a soldier and someone gives you a cigar, and you're going to hang on to that because you don't have today off. But you know what? In 2 nights you have that off, and you're sitting there thinking about how awesome that cigar
awesome it's going to be.
That is mental health right there.
Absolutely.
That's gonna
I
make
can
you,
tell you, just some days, just doing a normal job. I'm thinking, okay, I got to finish this. I got to finish this. I got to go do that. But when I'm done tonight, I'm going to sit down and smoke something that I really like. Just that can get you through the day.
Yes.
I can't even imagine how much more that would be magnified.
and in
that
a
situation.
place where you can't get them.
Right.
You know, like I just think that's a beautiful thing. Now, I also wanted to bring you back to this 1 millionth cigar. You have some interesting news about that.
I do.
1 millionth
So
cigar.
basically, what we've been, we were pushing as a goal by the end of July of this year to be at our 1 millionth
1
cigar.
millionth, yes.
And
That's a lot of
very
cigars.
fortunate. We had so many people that supported us and helped us through that we were able to make it. And we had an individual that had donated. If you're the A, the Drew Estate A,
Yes.
which is that long, slender cigar,
Right.
an event only cigar, not very widely distributed. So it was provided to us, and that was the 1 millionth cigar. So we had included it randomly in a box that was
Right.
going to be in the shipment for our 1 millionth cigar.
So that cigar was number 1
That was
million.
that was the one we designated as 1 million.
Okay.
Because the way it works is I'm sending out 75 care packages. You know the 1 millionth is
One of
in
them's
there.
gotta
You
be
just
the millionth.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you make that
So
your
we say
millionth.
that's it. You're
and,
right.
and that's
Gotcha.
it. So as we do it, then randomly what happens is Robert Allen, who is our COO, who handles this stuff as a tremendous volunteer of ours and packages them up and gets them ready to go, randomly just labels the boxes. So we don't really know
Which
who's
box
going to
is
get
got it?
this,
Yeah,
right? And on the certificate we provided, and I think we gave Adam a photo of it that he could use. But the interesting thing is that we put this little nice certificate that said 1 million. This is the 1 millionth cigar. Please provide us with photographs because we'd like to promote that you received the 1 millionth cigar. Well, what came with this post was a somewhat of an apology because they said because of our mission, we are not really allowed to post a lot of photos
Wow.
in public space of where we are. But we wanted to tell you how much we appreciated
Right.
the 1 millionth cigar, and they sent us, which those of you on the live feed should be able to see this
Yeah, you can
photograph
see this,
of
yes.
the package and the
Right,
information,
right,
all the
right.
material they got. And I found it really funny because that right there is quintessential to what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
This is somebody that obviously is in a service area where they're under a great deal of stress because if you can't publicize where you are,
Can't talk about
you're
it.
in
Can't
danger.
tell your family where you are. Any
yeah.
of that. Right. You're in a dangerous place.
You're in a dangerous place. And you were able to request and be provided cigars from a charity that cigar lovers in this country provided cigars to be able to send them to you. And that
so
right there
awesome.
tells the story.
Trey, if someone is listening to the show, they're not in the Houston area or can't come to the event this weekend, how can I, if I'm in Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia or Los Angeles, how can I get involved and participate in this?
Well, I will tell you that it's cigarsforwarriors.org is the website.
Okay.
I will tell you that as an all-volunteer organization, it's very difficult to run a very high-end website.
Of course.
It looks really good, but there are certain elements of it that we're working on. But again, we don't just willy-nilly spend money on a bunch of things. So, we're working on improving the website, but you can go there. The main point is I always tell everybody, if you're on Facebook, because most people are,
Go to Cigars
look up
for Warriors.
Operations Cigars for Warriors.
Operation Cigars for Warriors.
On the Facebook, on Facebook, not the Facebook, sorry, on Facebook, and what you're going to find is the pictures and links to where you can actually donate. But we would love to have anybody join us and participate with cash donations. There's an address on the website and on the Facebook page where you can ship your cigars. Like I said, they go to Robert Allen. who runs the distribution center for us. He runs an entire operation where he'll even make sure if the cigars are a little off, he'll recondition them and do the process of nursing them back to health. Bovida, who has been a corporate sponsor of ours since before we were officially a 501c3. They have been a corporate sponsor. They give us Humapacks that go in every single package that goes away. So I always tell everybody, the industry supports us. Support the industry.
That's awesome. And this is not something that runs itself. So if I'm really interested, can I become one of you? Can I help put these events on? Can I do this?
You bet. So we have a very very large list of things we need help with.
Things you need to do.
Exactly, because it is an all-volunteer organization. I'm fortunate enough, I sit on the board of directors. I'm the vice chairman of business relations. But we have a group that are called event coordinators. And the event coordinators are, if you remember John and Geraldine Bradford you met at the event at the Smoke Ring. They're event coordinators here in the city of Houston. We have many, many, many around the country. And they are the ones that help us work and liaison with the local cigar shops and or with the festivals and participating in those types of events. We also have social media teams and we have marketing teams. So
people who help out in other ways.
Absolutely. Right? If you have any kind of a passion to do something, we can find a place for you.
And you did mention this, but I want to hit it again. You're a fully certified 501c3. It's
501c3. Tax-deductible donations.
Yep. Everything is on the up and up.
Everything's on the up and up, and I will tell everybody, your cigar donations, when you buy cigars, if you buy cigars to donate, that's an in-kind donation. That is tax-deductible as well.
Nice.
And so it's one... Look, we're just a group of, simple, everyday people that have a passion to support our military. And if we can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me. You don't have to be a genius to do what we do, but it's one of those things where everybody can do their part.
Right. And
we just really would love for everybody to be involved. If you are in the Houston area, you can come down to the Smoke Ring in Webster or to Seabrook, Texas, 4th Street, 2014 4th Street in Seabrook. You'll drive up to my building and you'll go, this looks dilapidated, and I'll go, yes, it is. But that's where the party is.
But we're inside smoking. Come on and join us. Yeah. All right, Ian, I'm going to hand you this just so you can show that to the camera and try not to just put it in your bag.
The question is, do you think you're going to get it back?
Yeah, that's exactly the question. This is what we'll be sampling in our next segment. We are going to take a quick break, but this is the Aran 18-year single malt, and we'll be looking forward to trying that next on Smoking and Toasted. I haven't seen you grin that big in a long time.